Welcome back to the workshop, guys. It's been a while since my last video now, but I've just picked up some timber for the next project I'm working on, and I think it'll make a pretty cool video. This project is going to be a little coffee table with some traditional joinery in there, as well as an oval top, so that should be interesting. And it's all going to be made out of this Sapele. So this is the reference photo my clients have given me. And as I said, it's going to have an oval top and it's going to have some nice joinery in all of these corners here. It's going to be bridle joints. And then you can see there's a bit of a slope in all of these legs. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a full scale drawing of that leg, just so that I can work out the exact angle that I want it to be and where it looks right. And that way throughout the build, I can reference this drawing and make sure that all four legs are exactly the same. This is how we're looking at the moment. I'm pretty happy with this angle. Now I can start breaking up some of this timber. After getting two sides of these boards flat and square at the planer, I take them over to the table saw and I'm just cutting them a little bit closer to final dimension, and then we can put them through the thicknesser. I've rough machined all of the pieces so they're nice and flat now. So it's a Friday today and I'm not working this weekend. That means that these boards can acclimatise in the workshop, and that way when I machine them down to finished dimension next week, I can take out any movement that happens over the next couple of days. Back in the workshop this morning, so now I'm going to take the parts for the base of the table all down to final dimension, and then we can start working on all the joinery. Here I'm starting to mark things out on the base components. First I'm finding the center, and then I'm marking out each joint on the ends so that I know what material to remove to create the tenons. Here I'm marking out the mortises on the upright portions of the frame, and then I'm going to take them over to the bandsaw to remove the bulk of the material, then I'll finalise the fit at the router table. So now that I've removed the bulk of the material on these tenons at the table saw, now I can just use my router plane and chisels to fit everything to the uprights of the frame. Got both the cross pieces all finished up and fitting nice and tightly. So now I'm gonna put all the 4 uprights on here and just test fit the whole piece. Got all these pieces rough sanded now, and I've made these clamping cauls for the ends of these pieces, and that way that'll just give me a nice 90-degree angle to clamp to. Now we can do a test fit, put everything together with the clamps just to make sure that when it comes to glue up time, everything goes nice and smoothly. So here's the test run of the glue up. Everything's fitting really nicely, and you can see how the clamping cauls are working there as well to give me that even pressure. I'm only going to be gluing up the top 2 joints. That way, once this is all glued up, I can pull this piece out, and that's how the other portion of the frame is going to fit inside here. Now we can take it apart and glue it up for real. Got this piece all sanded up from yesterday's glue up. Now we're ready for the next one. It's a little bit trickier than the last one because not only do I have these 2 end joints, but I've got to make sure this middle joint's fitting as well. But we're all ready to go, so let's get it done. Just spent a little bit of time whipping up this jig, and this is going to help me cut out the oval for the top of the table. I've got these 2 sliders that run between these grooves in both direction, and this arm's going to be attached at the perfect point to these 2 sliders, which will give me the exact length and width I'm looking for on this oval. So I've adjusted the location of these two pins now, which will adjust the size of the oval. Now I'm ready to take my first test cut just on this piece of scrap, and we'll see how it goes. So that test cut worked out really well, and it's actually right where I want it to be measurement wise. Now we can move forward. The next step is to start machining up those boards to final dimension, and then I can get the top glued up. I've just used the router jig to trace out this pencil line showing me exactly where the top's going to be, and that's just because there's a few blemishes in the timber, like some cracking, that I want to make sure gets removed. And also this line will help me when placing my biscuits, just to make sure that they're set in from the line enough so that nothing will be showing once the table gets cut out. After taking this top to the timber yard this morning, I got them to machine it nice and flat for me. So now I can start positioning the jig perfectly in the center, and then we can cut this thing out. I've just stuck down these little blocks with some double-sided tape. So now I can lift this off, put some double-sided tape on the underside, and then stick it back down exactly where it needs to be. There it is. And you can see I haven't cut the whole way through. I'll just cut the rest of the excess off with the bandsaw, and then I can use the router to flush cut the rest of the table to size. Now that the top is rough cut, we can see the whole table together. And I'm thinking it needs something on the edge here. So I might do a 45-degree bevel just on that underside. And I think that'll give it a much more slender and finished look. Just put that bevel on the edge there. I think that looks a lot better. Now it's just time to sand the top, and then we can work on the fixings to go through the underside of the frame into the top, and then it'll be time for finish. winter here at the moment, I decided to bring these pieces inside to do the finishing work, just so it's a little bit warmer. So now we can lay down the first coat of finish. Now I'm just giving the whole piece a light sanding with 400 grit, and then we can chuck the second coat on. I did a total of 3 coats on the base of this table and then an extra 4th coat on the top. Thanks for following along with this build, guys. Let me know what you thought about the table below, and I'll see you in the next one.